Welcome to this week's episode of Tech Talk. I'm your host, Michael Armogan, and with us this week we have two guests, Vicquell
Hello.
and Nally.
So,
Okay, so let's start this off right. Vicky, Apple had released a new update for their iPhones, yeah?
Yes.
What was that all about?
Well, it was an exclusive iPhone 10 update, and it's basically the fix because they were having this issue for about a week or two, where if you go outside in extremely cold weather, you wouldn't be able to. The iPhone 10 screen would become non-responsive. So that update was basically to fix that.
Okay. And I know I'd seen some articles about that. Seen some really interesting pictures that people put together, like quite literally an iPhone in a block of ice. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I saw a guy did a drop test with the iPhone in a block of ice, and then he dropped it on the floor. And I'm just like, isn't the ice going to kind of cushion the fall? So
The foil.
well, not really, but because there's no internal moving parts in the actual iPhone, nothing will be able to transfer into. But yeah, no.
Yeah. Not only that, depending on what it is, ice can sometimes be hotter than someone's regular floor, depending on the type of ice and how hard it is.
Yeah.
So
it was just frozen, and it was this little swoop type of bowl. So it had it had a good amount of ice at the bottom, and then the foam was kind of at the top.
Yeah, so the phone wouldn't have actually taken any damage, but
Yeah.
I saw the update and I was listening to some of the news reports, and you gotta love the media sometimes. They just know how to blow things out of proportion. They literally, when they're going out, they're literally going above and beyond. When this guy standing up with papers in his hand, which obviously are indication of something important, that news reports coming in that the iPhone can't withstand cold weather. Find out what's up next at 8. It's the iPhone. It's a phone. It's a cell phone. The iPhone 8's not. The iPhone 10's not blowing up, and people are dying. Dude, take it down just a notch.
I know,
wow.
At the same time, the phones do the same thing when it gets hot. When the phone gets too hot, it
shuts down.
got to cool down and it shuts down. So, what's the big to do?
Yeah,
I think the big to do, to be quite honest, is
10?
No, it's not so much as the 10. It's the fact that it's a high-end smartphone that most people in the world at least know about, if not want to use, at least a good majority of the world. It's kind of like when something happens with the Samsung, the high-end Samsung devices, or look at what they did with the Galaxy Pixel, just because it's a phone made by Google.
Yeah, but
Media. I feel like Media set so hard to destroy the Pixel.
they probably are. Who knows what companies pay to have as much defamation happen.
It's kind of true.
Just to find anything, because that's what they pay for. Let's just say the owners of Fox have shares in Apple. The last thing they need is Google coming out with a phone for free, or anything like that. It's very bad for business. But yeah, so I think what they tried to blow out of proportion is here in Nebraska, temperatures can hit below 30 degrees easy. So that means everybody in Nebraska is gonna have a non-functioning phone. I'm pretty sure if you keep your phone in some sort of a case to keep it somewhat insulated, it should be fine. Chill out.
Not only that, you could just have it in your pocket for the most part, and
yeah, your legs should keep it warm enough.
Unless you're really, really cold climates, and then that's kind of maybe, yeah.
But even then, I'm pretty sure most phones won't have such functionality unless it's the original Nokia, the one that survived the Titanic. But other than that, they just really just love to blow things out of proportion. I was this is gonna be interesting just to watch him freak himself out for no reason. It's like, so what do you think? What do you think, Jenny? It's like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like a really bad idea. Apple should have thought this way through, and then now they want to come
And now he's locked out again.
up with the
Oh,
iPhone 10 anymore because he can't use it outside in cold weather. Like, he wanted to dip it in cold water, and it's not really gonna work. What do you think, Johnny? And they're just going back and forth. It's like, oh, I love the media sometimes. That's why I don't have
The one
TV.
they probably have the phone, and they just said like, okay, let's report this, and we're still gonna use our phone no matter what. So
Exactly. The studio probably bought them the phones.
yeah,
possibly.
And now they're complaining. Like, I think the circumstances for the phone not working are literally in extreme conditions. No one's gonna take their phone outside, rest in the snow, and be like, "Oh, my phone's not working in the snow." Duh. That's not how this works.
And then Vicky, or Nally, I mean, either one of you know, but did they finally resolve anything with the notification and the control panel?
yes, they did. Yes, they did. It only took them. It only took them like a whole, actually no, 2 software versions. Like I couldn't address that in 11.1. But yes, they finally now with 11.2. I think it's beta 3.
I
Or
think
is it
so.
beta 4?
I think it's 3.
It's 3. Yeah, beta 3. They addressed the the connectivity toggles inside Control Center and how when you tap them, it doesn't exactly turn it off. You have to now go into settings to turn off like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and so on. But it will just disconnect you from the Wi-Fi until tomorrow. But you're still able to use Wi-Fi for AirDrop, personal hotspots, and location accuracy.
So they're really not turning off anything like they
Yeah,
used to. It's just
Disconnecting.
Hmm.
I don't know who gave them that brilliant idea. And it goes with the same way with Bluetooth. So like if you turn it off from via Control Center, it's just gonna like not connect. It's just basically not connected to a Bluetooth device until tomorrow. But however, it's gonna still continue using. It's still gonna be able to use on your Apple Watch, your Apple Pencil, personal hotspots, and handoff. And then now they give you, instead of like, I think, let me see how it was. Instead of just being grayed out when you don't have it on, it now gives like a white shadow or like a white overlay.
so essentially rip your phone.
Yep. And I
Well,
see
your
on
phone's battery life, I should say.
I feel like if this is just like them moving the auto brightness. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of like that same thing. So like now, in order to turn like your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth off, you have to basically do more work instead of being easy access in the Control Center, which it was originally placed there for.
So what happened to let's simplify everything, make it easy to access everything, but not now it's like, okay, we're gonna do this, but to actually do what we think you think you're gonna be doing, you have to go and do a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yep. And I didn't wait until like they had this there from 11.0, and they just decided to like make reference to it in 11.2.
Sorry
And
about
like
that.
a simple fix for this as well was they could have basically allow you to 3D touch inside the after you already 3D touch inside the connectivity section for Control Center, just like 3D touch on like Wi-Fi and go right there and like have like a little switch to turn it off. Like I feel like that would have been a simple solution. But now you got to go into settings, and if you don't have 3D touch, and you can't just 3D touch on settings and then select Wi-Fi, and it prompts you to the Wi-Fi option. It's basically more work, just like auto brightness.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and like
Smart as dumb.
they waited so late to do it. I'm just there like, so you guys did address this in 11.0, but now that the iPhone 10 is out, everything's running smoothly, sales are up, y'all now want to address it?
Yep. Why not?
Sounds like business to me.
So there was also some other interesting things that we kind of heard about this week. The Face ID
Like,
is being cracked by 2 different things now. One by a very elaborate mask, which is using a mixture of 2D and 3D models put together to mimic someone's face. And it unlocks it very easily. Like, he quite literally had it up against, well, the mask in front of it. It unlocked it, put it up to his face, unlocked it. And it's like, okay, yeah. And it's not like it's a segmented thing. It's one continuous video, and everything's moving, so you can tell it's, at least if it's not edited, it's very well edited. And the other one,
okay.
the other one, your kids can crack into your phone.
Wait. How?
Is it kind of based off of genetics and how they have similar facial structures as the parent?
Yep, exactly. That is it. That is exactly it.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. So now we have twins,
Yeah,
children,
twins.
and facial and like 3D
Well,
and 2D
I
model.
saw a
of face.
video where someone did a video with two twins trying to crack the other twin's phone, and it didn't really work. I don't know if that was a paid ad or what, but
So I saw like about 2 videos where actually no, I saw one video where it had like 3 sets of twins,
Yep,
and
I
it
remember that
unlocks
one.
for them.
Yep.
They even switched places inside the room, and it still works for them. And like I saw another one where the next set of twins, there's only one this time, and it works for them.
yeah, that sounds about right. But the whole mask thing,
That's
that's
a lot of work.
a lot of work.
It is.
That's no little bit of work to map someone's face just to unlock their phone.
That's
It's like,
like that.
what is in this phone, bro?
That's like
and
them
why are
type of
you so
things you see in
committed?
spy movies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Think
okay, so here's the thing. That can be a boon or a bust. Because let's take a look at it. iPhones they're trying to sell iPhones and have people use those in government offices now. So that's a lot of government information. And, depending on what you do, well, you might be a target. As for the regular Joe Blow, probably not, unless, you've got someone that knows you and has a lot of time on their hands. But yeah, when it comes to these governments and like corporations and stuff like that, yeah, you might have something to worry about.
Like, I'll be real with you. If someone can get the 4-digit code or 6-digit code to my phone, getting my face to get my phone is gonna be a lot more difficult. like when you really think about it, it's like the work that you have to go through to try and mimic someone's face just to unlock their phone. It's easier to just cut off a finger, bro. Like, if it's that serious, just cut off their finger and use that.
But see, that's the thing. Like fingerprint technology, fingerprint unlocking, it actually needs to be connected to the human body. Like in the sense that if you just cut off someone's finger, it's not going to unlock the phone.
You would have to have like a current blood flow during.
Well, it's just
That's not like
electrical current.
current blood.
Hold on, if
flow
I'm holding
through your
it
finger.
and my finger will be conductive, I'm holding the finger.
Mm-hmm.
It'll,
Not like it actually has to
How
still be a live
hold on.
person.
how do you know that? You're
Because-
raising questions now.
They have actually tested it.
Oh,
Interesting. It's interesting. That's interesting.
I really want to know who gave up their finger.
Yeah.
Like, who gave up their dead family member's finger to let them test that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
It raises so many questions.
so many
Okay,
ethical
well, just-
questions. But yes,
It's probably just easier to beat your ass and then use your finger.
yeah, pretty much. Knock you unconscious or drug you, one of the two.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they can do all that, then they can just put the phone up to your face anyway. So
Yeah. It's like, unlock this. You can't be like, no. You could ball a fist, but you can't be like, no, don't put the phone to my face. Ugh, that's so silly. The more we move ahead, the more we take a step back, eh?
Yep.
And then there was another thing. Of course, we all saw the hype up about Animojis, right?
Yep.
It doesn't need the facial camera. Like, it doesn't need the face ID or the True Sense
The
ID.
True depth? Yeah.
True depth sensors inside of it to use the face. You can quite literally cover all of that up and it just uses the regular front-facing camera to do all that.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yep, sounds like typical Apple.
So essentially, their reasoning behind why it's not working on the iPhone 8 is quite possibly bullcrap.
Yeah.
They needed something
Sadly.
exclusive to, like, draw people closer to the 10, minus the edge-to-edge screen.
I think that's gotta be it. They quite literally just save like the extra feature for their newer phone. So I don't know. That's
Feels bad, man.
yeah. And
What?
sorry, you were saying something else?
No.
Okay. The last thing I also heard about was the iPhone 9 will quite possibly be using lasers in the back as a 3D depth sensor.
Why?
I'm wondering the same thing.
Why though? That just sounds like so much battery. Like you're gonna have to start attaching an external battery to these things just for the sake of functionality.
Well, at least if they have an
Sounds so
battery,
exhausting.
so they'll be okay.
Oh, what was that? Say it again, Vicky.
I said at least they have like an L-shaped battery, so they have a bigger battery, so hopefully they'll be okay. Minus the technology and the power that Face ID pulls from the phone.
Well, I mean, I could see a few uses for it, like trying to do something very similar to the Pixel 2, in that, it doesn't really need two cameras to do the depth sensing. It just uses the one camera using dual pixels to then create and machine learning to create that depth of effect. I think that's it. Depth effect. So if they're using if they're using lasers and a 3D sensor, they can essentially do that, couple that with their telephoto lens to create a slightly sharper and clearer picture. But I don't know if that's the actual reason why. The only other reason I would imagine why is that they want everyone to be able to do like Animoji karaoke, like as a group.
That too.
Mm.
Like if that might be their pitch point. They can
Yeah.
they can pitch point next year.
Sadly, no matter how much image processing you try to do, the quality is only ever going to be as good as the sensor. That's just how it works.
Quite true. By the way, hi Mr. One. Welcome back. But I mean, okay, we have to admit, Apple's sensors are pretty good with their phones. So we can't really hit them with that.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting if this actually does pan out, what it will look like, and, how the pictures will be. But then again, pictures can only get so good from a smartphone, at least at this current technology rate.
It's like I feel like they're going to push it, and like they're not slowly pushing it like every other year, so they're pushing it every year. So like at a certain point, like there's gonna be like a place of standstill where you can't really move at the present moment until you guys further develop things in like another year or two. So like, what are you guys gonna do then?
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think that's where they're at now. So how do you now make your camera seem more impressive? You have to now add, you have backlighting and you have enhance this, enhance that. Like you just process the image better. So you can't improve your sensor anymore. So I actually feel they're at the right now.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think there's maybe like one or two more tweaks that they could do to get a slightly better picture. And then the rest is just going to be gimmicks. At least for like the next 1 to 3 years.
Augmented reality is a gimmick.
I have yet to use that,
Augmented reality could become interesting and useful, but the actual uses, on a smartphone, but the uses of it is just simply not there yet. I mean, augmented reality has been a thing for years now, and I mean, it's been interesting to take a look and see like where things were posted, say on Instagram or Twitch. I mean, not Twitch, Twitter, using geolocation and stuff like that. But the actual idea of augmented reality, like getting information about a store, and as soon as you like hold your phone up to it, or being able to play games with people just by like seeing what's around and interacting with it like that, it's, yeah, you kind of have it with things like Ingress and Pokemon Go and things that use a real world map, but it's not the dream that we had. And I don't think we're going to really get there until people actually start picking up on creativity.
Yeah. Instead of just trying to make a quick buck off some good idea. This is right now good idea.
Yeah. Mr. Juan, technically Pokemon Go is based all entirely around AR because it's using the term AR is augmented reality. And so what they're doing is they're using a world map, which is very similar to what Ingress did. And that they use a world map, you walk around it, and things happen on that map on your phone that don't happen in real life. Not only that, they also have it where there is the option where instead of when you click on a Pokemon, you would then be given two options. One, you see it directly in front of you and it's like a static background. And two, you actually would have to move around and try to find where the Pokemon is, then swing your Pokemon, either the fruit or, well, berry, or a Pokeball at it to catch it. And that used the AR as well, because it then used your actual camera to show you something that doesn't actually exist in the real world.
Yeah, which was fun until it got stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun for like couple. I actually turned
Couple
that
months.
off. I feel like that first week that came out, I turned that off.
No, me and a lot of people, we were committed to the cause. The gyms were pretty cool, and then it just got really dumb because you can't beat the gyms anymore, and you don't have enough people committed. And then, like, especially in Freeport, the gyms were taken over by obviously a large group of tourists, and we can never get it back. So at that point, it's like, it's just not even worth it.
This is a lot of spoofing over here.
Yeah, that was.
What you talking? What? No way, not us. Not us. We don't do them illegal things.
In Nassau?
Not in the Bahamas. We don't spoof in the Bahamas. Stop that.
Lies.
Bahamas, we honest.
Lies.
Like the game was so biased, man. Like I feel like Android was. I feel they favored Android more over iOS. Like, I felt like they were super biased because like Android updates would come out like that. iOS gotta wait like a day or two or so on.
Yeah, because it has to be updated inside the store.
So this is like, yeah. And then with AI, I turned that AI feature off at that first. I think the first time I played it, it was like, ooh, and then like after, I was just like, okay, and I turned it off. And, like, I just thought, yeah, it's like that 1 minute excitement, and then like afterwards, you kind of come back to reality. Yeah,
it gets annoying to try and find like where it is.
when you gotta like rotate it, and when I can just like put it right here and then like grab the Pokemon.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think that pretty much covers our iPhone topics. But there was another phone that actually got launched today. Well, there was a phone that got launched today, yeah. The OnePlus 5T. Now, I decided to watch it. It was at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. And it was like 2 hours of just intro videos that were like talking about the OnePlus 5. Not even like the phone that we're currently looking at, just the OnePlus 5, the older phone. Then when they actually started, they went into this huge, long, drawn-out thing of the OnePlus history. So the actual keynote, like when you actually find out about the 5T, was only something like 25 minutes long out of like 2 hours. A little over 2 hours. It's kind of like, Really? You put me through that?
Like I was watching it, but I was trying to watch it at work, and it just wasn't happening. Like after a while, like people like they were playing music, I just couldn't hear the ending, and like it happened. But the time when everybody's playing music, it was like right at the ending when they decided to introduce the phone. So like I missed everything, and I'm just there like.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be quite honest. Like I turned it off at a certain point, and then I just like came back after everything was finished, so I could move ahead and actually just listen to what the parts that I wanted to listen to, and skip all that that history and stuff like
Rambling.
that. Yeah, pretty much.
They did a lot of comparisons between the older devices for the new one. I guess it's to like show you their progress. That and then the fact that they listen to their users.
I mean, but sorry, go on, Nally.
No, I was saying I'm just looked it up and I'm looking at the specs. It's not bad. It seems very impressive.
Okay, but here's the thing. And Mr. One, you're gonna want to really realize this as well. So yes, the Razer phone has 8 gigs of RAM. So there was already another phone like that. But not only that, the OnePlus 5 is pretty much the exact same specs. The 5T is just a bigger screen.
6 and 6 Plus.
Pretty much. And here's the thing. They actually threw shade at Apple during this. The reason why they went with T, can you guess why?
Because Apple already had 10. Well, 10X.
No. It's because, and I'm going to paraphrase it slightly, but I'm going to try and get it as close to it as possible. There is another company out there that has another brand of phone that ends in S. So S plus 1 is T.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And they're talking about the iPhone 6S and 5S and
5S and 4S.
Interesting.
So it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like, okay. But I mean, the T branding is not something new to them either. And I found something interesting. Well, the way they phrased it, I found interesting. They said that instead of waiting for, like, whenever new software is available, you try to upgrade your phones or whatever to get you the best experience. They want to do the same thing with hardware. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, so as soon as new hardware is available, you guys want to sell a new phone? So then you're always, like, every 2 months you're going to be coming up with a new phone. Where does it end?
When you have $0.
I mean, granted, they
so
do
when
two
they
phones,
sold the most phones and they won the phone race.
but they can't. They're going up against Samsung right now, and they still aren't quite making, like, that kind of headway.
Feels bad.
But I mean, really think about it. Yeah, they're doing 2 phones. One phone, it comes out a little bit early in the year, and another phone comes out around this time in the year, which is generally the T, which is a slight difference in something of the specs. This time it's a slightly more bumpy camera and a bigger screen. And like a little bit better, they something with their pixels, where it's using 4 pixels instead to then pull in information, which sounds a lot like what was happening with things like dual pixel technology and stuff like that. So it's not like,
Yeah. Yeah, you could capture as many pixels as you want. Your sensor is the only thing that matters for your real image quality. So try as you may.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the screen, I remember about it. They also threw shade at some other phones because of their screens. And they said that, we heard about the news about other screens and, them having problems. And that's why we waited to make sure we got, like, I'm paraphrasing again, but like the best quality screen. And then they say it's an AMOLED screen. And I'm like, so where'd you get that from? Let me guess, Samsung?
Maybe, but I feel like Samsung talk. Like Samsung made so much money this year. I know their yearly revenue was higher than last year for this year. I feel like they just came and swooped the whole market away.
in one form or another.
Sounds like they're getting bonus in the sweatshops.
Well, I don't know about that. I honestly don't know. I feel sorry for those people, but I mean, when you really think about it, yeah, a lot of the Android components were from Samsung. Sorry, the Apple components for the iPhones were from Samsung. Well, especially from the iPhone X. There are a number of phones that have the Samsung AMOLED screens. The S8 and Note 8 sold really well. And we don't really know where this 5T screen came from. It could come from somewhere else, but I'm kind of wary at that since they said, they got the best. And the best that we know right now is Samsung, so...
Yeah. I feel like the phone race is only going to end up in always being just a lawsuit race. I'm going to rip you off, but will you get enough money out of me to be viable? That's all it's about now.
Pretty much.
Because everybody's suing everybody for just the fact that you could sue. Yeah. There's like, okay, iPhone's going to come out with a bigger battery. Samsung has a bigger battery, so now they're suing them. Okay, fine. The iPhone's not releasing any phone this year. Samsung suing them because of no property. Okay, cool. Just getting stupider and stupider, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, Apple's kind of done its own kind of stupid lawsuits as well, so...
Yeah.
Kind of karma in a sense.
It's just like, it's always going to be a back and forth. And then any newcomer try to step in the race, they'd be like, well, guess what? I got this phone. And the two of them sue the newcomer, and he's like, well, I had a pretty cool phone, but obviously it's Apple's phone now, so fine.
Nally, why do you have a pair of scissors in your hand?
I'm cutting something, sorry. You can see that?
Yeah, you raised your hand up.
Sorry.
And then there were some other real odd things that I kind of picked up on during like the keynote. They're like, oh, well, the screen when you go inside the sun, like it's going to make it the contrast a little bit. It's going to change the contrast and make things easier to see. And I'm like, you mean adaptive display, which phones have had for a while?
You sound like them Android users when Apple says, they have this and they have that and they have that. And people are just like, oh, but we had that for a year. We had that for 3 years. We had that for like 5 years now. That's exactly how you sound.
But I mean, the thing about it is, it's still Android. It's just like a fork of Android called Oxygen OS, which is, they're still trying to mimic stock Android in a sense. So it's kind of like, but this was already there.
I saw that. And like, I remember seeing like the glimpse of the Oreo icon on the screen. I was just like, did you guys kind of still steal their icon as well, or are you guys just like displaying that you guys are trying to make all like your own thing that's like dependent on from like Android Oreo that's out now?
No, it's running Android Nougat 7.1.1, but their icon looks a lot like something with Oreo, so it's kind of like.
And yeah, like I was gonna say, it was like a bunch of when I was actually watching and I was listening, which is probably the beginning. It was like a lot of rambling. It was like a lot of I'm just gonna say this, like kind of ran on basically, and then like afterwards they eventually finally got with it and started talking about the phone for this year.
Yeah. By the way, Mr. One, I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like, Samsung really is going with everything. They kind of do. I think Chris says it a lot. They listen to their market as well, which is the reason why they brought back the SD card. They still have the headphone jack. They're using USB Type-C. But the one thing that I don't think they're going to be going back to is the replaceable battery. That's only really happening on their lower-end devices.
Honestly, a replaceable battery is kind of like the best.
Yeah, it is.
It makes it a lot cheaper, but I guess if the battery goes, then replace the whole phone.
Yeah. Makes
more money, sadly.
Of course, people will like the premium design, which is where this entire thing came from. Where it's like unibody metal. It's like, all glass, and it's like, okay, but I used to like taking off the back of my phone and like swapping out the battery.
The battery. Yeah.
And
There
then,
was this. Oh,
I mean, sorry, but I quite literally saw this week a phone that has that kind of unibody display, where the battery was swelling up inside of it, cracked off the back, and it's like,
Whoa.
not such a bright idea now, huh?
yeah.
The battery was probably on the ledge of exploding, and that person was just so chilled with that.
Yeah. But I remember a while back there was this company trying to build a phone with interchangeable pieces. Like you could buy a bigger battery, and I'm sure you may have seen it.
Yeah, that's
Where
the
it was
Aura.
this silver phone, and it's like that was probably one of the better ideas, and heaven knows what only happened to that.
Well, what happened to that was okay, so there was Blocks, and then Blocks partnered up with Google to create Project Aura. Project Aura kind of died in a sense that, you know, they didn't have a whole lot of support. So yeah, and it just didn't pan out. And then there was another one by ZTE, which was working on something very similar, but it was only a prototype they showed at CES, much like how Razer did their modular PC tower, and that was only at CES. That never went anywhere. So I don't know.
I just want to. Someone just need to come up with a phone that's gonna be good for everybody, not hated by everybody, and just gonna bring peace among worlds, man.
You want to burn the world. The world will burn before that happens. There was also another thing. They have face unlock on the 5T. They specifically mentioned face unlock.
Here comes the lawsuit.
But I mean, okay. Here's the thing. Samsung's had that for a while now.
I've seen it. I remember.
It wasn't too good back in the day.
Well,
Yeah,
I forget if it was Android that has it first, and then Samsung brought up the Iris ID. Well, iris scanning. I don't remember like what happened with that. Like who started what first. But
It's gonna get to a point where they just start scanning DNA.
might be. Apparently, with this though, and they were like, "Oh, it's so secure," and I'm like, "Oh, so you guys did something similar to Apple." Which is like a few thousand, like tens of thousands of facial checkpoints and stuff like that using the true depth camera.
Quote
That's
unquote.
Wait, is it true depth or true sense?
It's a true camera sensor, basically.
And
they
then
just gave it a fancy name.
the thing about this though, guess how much facial points this one checks for?
13.
Vicky?
Um,
Remember, Apple's own does like tens of thousands.
let's see.
I feel like it's low.
5,000?
Oh, what'd you say, Vicky?
5,000?
No. 150.
Oh,
150.
150. That's not 1,000. That's just 150 facial checkpoints. And
That's
they
still
want
very-
to.
Yeah.
I thought they're gonna do that. I feel like that's supposed to be super easy to crack.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like they were saying, "Oh, it's so fast," and then they were like, "Oh, well, for security purposes, you won't be able to use it to, like, use for payments."
Yeah, you have to use the fingerprint scanner on the back,
Yeah,
but they have it as an option.
How is
Even
that?
though they have.
You guys don't feel secure using this secure technology for people's payments.
Payments.
What?
Yeah.
It's a 90. They say it's a 99% rate if it sees your eyes and nose.
So that means it's only scanning for your eyes and nose, and isn't really
What
mapping out your face.
about my heads and shoulders, knees and toes?
Oh, Lord.
I mean, because like if Apple one is Apple one can be cracked. So and like Apple have tens and thousands. So you can imagine 150. I wouldn't trust that. I would
No.
just like constantly use well,
Well,
the-
it is only
That's
technically
fact.
being cracked by like kind of like the similar face, the exact same face. But then the whole one with the kids, I need to check that out.
Yeah, there are videos like there's a
just
video
wanna-
of a kid. He puts his his mom's phone up to his face and it unlocks.
That's hilarious. He's a very pretty young kid.
Ah, boy, poor kid. And the other thing from the keynote that I found, now this one was interesting, but also really odd. How would you feel about a slider on the side of your phone to change the notification options between, full notifications to just alarms to do not disturb, or like priority only?
I guess that'd be pretty good. But
I don't know. I don't have space for that. Well, for me, I feel like my slide is already occupied by the silent and ringtone on and off button. Well, switch.
I think that's kind of where they got the idea from it. Because, I mean, if you really take a look, and... Okay, so my phone. If I do volume, I get 3 options. And this is where they're taking it from. One for media. Oh, and it went away. So, one for media, one for ringtone, and then one for alarms. And then there are different options that you could do. So let me pull this into it really quick. Pull down. Okay, so we've got priority only, alarms only, and total silence, which are 3 options for do not disturb. Now I'm guessing they don't have the alarms only, so it's probably on, priority only, and total silence. I don't quite remember. I wasn't, like, at that point I was already getting lazy just listening to the show. But it kind of feels like a real hardware gimmick than anything.
yeah, that's how kind of how it sounds. Like, this phone is gonna revolutionize your life because now you don't have to worry about they're gonna over exaggerate. Oh, you're pressing it 10,000 times and it's still not going down quick enough. Like, you just flip a switch and your life is now way more convenient by our phone. It's like, no, not really.
And then you're going to run into the same issue with a lot of iPhone users when, they're wondering, well, I'm not hearing my phone calls. Well, have you turned the switch up?
Yep. Accidentally hit the switch.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how that's going to really work out.
Sadly.
And there is one thing about OnePlus as well that kind of came up earlier this week. Well, actually 2 things. There were 2 apps that were found that are located on a lot of the OnePlus devices so far that will log information about you and your phone. Things like location, GPS, Bluetooth connectivity, Wi-Fi connections, that kind of thing. And
Wow.
People tweeted about it and like went to Reddit and like OnePlus forums and complained about it when they actually found out about it. And OnePlus actually responded, and this is their response. Yesterday we received a lot of questions regarding an APK found in several devices, including our own, named Engineer Mode. And we would like to explain what it is. Engineer Mode is a diagnostic tool mainly used for factory production line functionality testing and after-sales support. We've seen several statements by community developers that are worried because this APK grants root privileges. So that's something on your device that can root your device, get full access to your device, and is also logging all of your information.
Interesting.
So they continue on saying, While it can enable ADB root, which provides privileges for ADB commands, pretty much those commands I just mentioned, it will not let third-party apps access full root privileges. Additionally, the root is only accessible if USB debugging, which is off by default, is turned on, and any sort of root access would still require physical access to your device. While we don't see this as a major security issue, we understand that users may have concerns, and therefore we have removed the ADB root function from engineer mode in an upcoming OTA. Meaning, they're still going to keep it on there, they're just removing it from being able to reach your phone.
Yeah. It's the FBI.
One thing that they've also found, and this is not that company talking anymore, but they found that Engineer Mode is also an app that is made by Qualcomm for diagnostics of their Snapdragon processors. So the app was also found on things like the Asus Zenfone and the Xiaomi Redmi 3S. So it's not necessarily something you wouldn't have on your device. It's just typically people would remove it before actually selling it.
Okay.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I don't...
And then now leaves the question to how many phones out there originally had this feature and they just removed it.
That just no one knew about.
Yep.
Yeah. Is something so sketchy?
Mr. One, we've been being watched. Ever...
Yep.
I think Nally...
Big Brother's always watching.
Okay.
Always watching Wazowski.
I feel like at this time, like, I feel like I already know someone's watching me, so it's like, okay. And then we just
Enjoy
move
the
on.
nudes.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do take news, Vicky.
No, I don't. But I'm just saying, like, it's just like I already know someone's watching me and like reading my messages, like listening to my conversations. So it's just like can't really do anything about it. So it's either move on with life or turn to like them people that like have conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
You'd look good in a tinfoil hat. Tinfoil pyramid hat. You good?
Oh, someone else finally gets the pyramid hat thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because Vicky and Chris, I mentioned that like during one of the other shows, and like they just kind of looked at me weird, and it's like,
Yeah, like y'all have never seen that, dude. You never watched Futurama with the guys with the pyramid hat.
When I hear pyramid hat, I think of like the little dunce hat that they make the children wear and like sit them in a corner.
No,
That's what I think.
No, not those ones. The legit pyramids. Straight up.
Chris thought I was talking about the pyramid head from Silent Hill, and I'm like, no. There was something before that.
If it's Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, you've gone down the wrong path.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of different things are listening to you nowadays. Everything from Google to Facebook to Apple to the governments to
Russians, Nigerians.
Yeah, pretty much. So
just have a good conversation. At least make it worth their while. That's the least you could do.
Did you guys hear about the like if you have if you get an email from one of those spam the people that pretty much try to fraud you out of money?
Yeah.
You can forward the email to a bot. The bot will actually legit try and have a conversation with them and just try to get them to waste their time answering the bot.
What? That's hilarious.
And then after they stop responding, they'll send you the transcript.
That's hilarious.
Oh man, I could have done that today.
Oh man, I have so much spam email in my junk. I want to keep a lot of bots real busy, for a long period of time.
I need to try and remember. Let me see if I can find out what that bot is. Let me see.
I've had a lot of people send me troll messages, and I just kind of condone it, and be like, yeah, so what's that about? Oh well, if XYZ happens and you do this and you do that, then this will happen. We can do this for you. We can do that. I say, okay, great. So what's the process if I go sign up? And then they send me the links and all that. So I say, I'm trying, but it doesn't seem to be working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So like I start playing ignorant. I'm like, I say, okay. I say, is there another way for you to show me? Like, is this? Could you like get on Skype and just walk me through it? And they're like, oh well, we don't really do Skype, but I don't understand what I'm doing. Like this would be so much fun. And they're like, we probably may have to get someone else to contact you. Yeah, okay, that's no problem. But I really want to get it done. Just let me know what I need to do.
Apparently, to do that, all you need to do is forward it to me@rescam@.org. So that's me@rescam.org. I love the name, rescamming.
Yeah, it's perfect. Scam the scammers.
Yeah. But that covers it for this week's episode of Tech Talk. I'd like to thank my two guests for coming on. Thank you, Vicquell, and thank you, Nally. Thank you, Mr. Juan, for coming on another episode of Tech Talk and interacting with us via chat. And thank you to Russian Salt and Skunk G11 for following during this, for following. So don't forget, Esports Wrap is on Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be back next week. And Tech Talk will be back next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. You can always watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/MOAR cookies. And we also are on a podcast. So, if you're on Apple Podcasts or Google Play Music or anything else like that, whatever podcast that you use, or you can just subscribe and listen to us at morecookies.com. Feel free to. And feel free to subscribe to any of those, including here on Twitch, or follow, or whatever it is that you want to do. And until next time, this is Michael Armogan, and see you next time.
Peace.